Right. So, so I think all of you guys have access to PGVLE, right? PGVLE course page. Is there any student who do not have access to PGVLE instance? Right. So I hope everyone has access. And if you have any problem with accessing the course web page, please let me know. Right. And this is the place where we going to upload the lecture notes, and you can find the meeting links here, and then all the for all the sessions. And there will be a separate session, right? So that is important for us to take attendance and also some administration purposes. So therefore, you can use uh, these links prepared by our admin officer. And I will be uploading the assignments here. So there will be, we will conduct 8 assignments in total. So there is no final exam for this module, right? Uh, I will upload the course uh, descriptor soon today after today's lecture. Uh, right. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Kasun Karunanayak. I'm a senior lecturer at UCSC. I joined UCSC around uh, 2019. So this is my 6th year in service, and yeah, so this is me, and then you can read a little bit about myself if you go to this particular link in this staff directory at UCSC. So I did my first degree, Bachelor of Information Science in Information Technology degree from University of Moratuwa. So 2008, I have graduated, and then I worked. Meantime, I worked for the Sri Lankan software industry for a couple of years. And 2009 January, I went to Singapore to pursue my higher studies. So there I completed my PhD in 2014, and 2000 between 2015 and 2019, I worked as a research fellow and a senior research fellow in a research institute called Imagineering Institute Malaysia. And 2019, I came back to Sri Lanka and joined UCSC. So since 2019, I am teaching both undergraduate and master's course modules. And if we discuss about my research area, you guys can access to my Google Scholar profile. And I'm conducting research related to extended reality, human-computer interaction, assistive interfaces, human-centered AI, and unmanned aerial vehicles. So, I mean, nothing related to cybersecurity, but I'm teaching a non-technical module. So, not much cybersecurity kind of related research I didn't conduct, but I uh, but I'm also a little bit interested in that area as well. So, especially on human factors in cybersecurity, right? Studying human factors in cybersecurity. Uh, yeah, so that's about myself. And in case if you would like to read a little bit about my research publications, you can find them here. And then in case if you cannot find the full version, you can let me know so I can send you the complete full papers, right? Yeah, so that's about myself. And yeah, so I think we can start. we can start looking at today's presentations. But we can, before that, let me have a look at our folder, and then let me check whether I can find the syllabus. This is a different technical writing module. Right, I will, seems like, let me check. Right, so yeah, I found it. So this is the technical writing course descriptor. This is offered in semester 3, so you guys already in semester 3. And course rubric, which means how you will be graded in this particular course is, it is 100% from the assignments. And there will be 30 hours of lectures and some hours of independent learning you guys need to do. Especially it is allocated for the continuous assessments. So there will be 8 assignments in total. And what I'm going to do is I will rate the best 6, right? So after you guys do the 8 assignments, let's say like the top 6 assignments, your top 6 assignments uh, will be selected and your grade will be calculated based on that, right? So, so we will be, last year also I did the same. And there are some resources, learning resources mentioned here, so you guys can take a look at that. And right, so what is the indicative contents of this module or the lesson plan? So let's go through it. Uh, so basically, it contains. So we will discuss how we can do writing, right? For example, like writing, how we can do the technical writing. So technical writing in the sense that we, I mean, it is a little bit different from the normal writing techniques that we are using. So we need to learn those techniques, how to do a good technical writing, and then if we have some time, we will also discuss about research writing that can be important for you in case if you do future research work. Uh, so here are some indicative contents, but we will be learning more than this, right? So grammar and punctuation, how we can use correct grammar and punctuation, for example, verb tenses, use of conjunctions, compound sentences, sentence structures. So those are like basic grammar and grammar usages, right? And then we will discuss about, we will moving into uh, technical writing specific topics, writing essays and articles, right? So we will discuss about different types of essays, uh, like comparing essays, essay structuring, how you can do, uh, how you can avoid plagiarism by doing paraphrasing and summarizing, right? And then we will discuss about research writing, how to plan a research paper, what are the languages used in a research article, types of research articles, how you can do citations, cross-referencing. So these kind of techniques we will discuss, right? So this particular course module is a non-technical course module. So uh, so you will find it little bit easier when, especially when you compared with the other technical modules offered in this semester, right? But what you need to do in order to get a good grade is go through and complete the assessments, right? Um, without waiting until the last moment, right? So you can do a quality job for the assignments, and then you can get a good grade. Right. So, so that's the course descriptor. Anyone has any questions? Is it clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Uh, right. So, what we will do now is we will go to our first lesson. So today we will be discussing it. Right. So today we will be talking about introduction to technical writing. Right. So here we will try to understand like what is technical writing and why it is important. Right. And then we will discuss about some different forms of technical writing, such as essays, theses, dissertations, like that. And then we will discuss about like the easiest form of technical writing. It's not the easiest form, but it is the most generic form, right, of technical writing, which is the essay writing, right? So technical essays. Uh, then we can expand those. I mean, if we know how to write a good academic essay, then even if you are looking at, let's say, your project proposals, literature reviews, if you are writing a case study, if you are writing a survey document, right? Survey report, if you are writing a project report, if you are writing you are, uh, if you are writing a dissertation, if you are writing a portfolio, right? If you are writing a thesis, so everything uh, becomes easier uh, because in technical writing, essay writing is the place where you can start learning about uh, these different skills, right? So we will look into these topics today, and then we will also discuss about this referencing and uh, quotations, right? How you can add citations, these kind of things we will discuss. And so here you can see the overview background. So we will start first with background writing, and we will discuss how we can develop critical reading approaches, what kind of tools we can use, and essay writing, right? How we can come up with a good, um, like, how we can come up with a good essay, and what are the important steps we should follow. References and quotations, organizing paragraphs, introduction and conclusions, rewriting and proofreading. So we might not be able to complete all of these today, but what we will do is like we will uh, go through each and every topic, most probably until the uh, essay, beginning of essay writing, we can finish within today. Right. So let's understand why writing is important and what is technical writing. So, so what is the purpose of technical writing, or in other words, academic writing, right? So, writers, here the basic idea is we are giving a clear idea or we try to deliver the information clearly to our readers, right? But these readers are not like not the general public. Most of the time, when you are writing an academic essay or academic document or a technical report, right? So there is a specific type of people who read it, right? Most of the times, these people have good understanding of the subject area, right? So they need very accurate information. So accurate information. So what, and you should be able to deliver the meaning, what you mean in your document, right? Clearly to these participants. And also, when you are uh, writing about something, right? You should avoid from like, let's say, writing opinions, right? So always we uh, give evidence. In order to give evidence, we need to add references, right? So that is why most of this academic writing, when you even when you see a research paper or your thesis, right, even assignment, right? Oh, so all of these are academic writing documents, right? So, or technical writing documents. So, academic writing and technical writing, the difference is actually both are similar. So, academic writing means like the branch that you look for is look for uh, completely for academic writing purposes or academic purposes, right? Technical writing means um, so uh, it contains so it can be academia, it can be industry, right? So both the places you can do technical writing, right? So if you are preparing a document for your company or for your uh, coursework, right? So both are fallen into this technical writing, the domain of technical writing. So uh, the for both we are using the same techniques, right? So uh, in academic writing, right, writers should be clear why they are writing, right? Most common reasons why we are using these academic writing principles or technical writing principles. The first one is assume that you are a researcher and you conduct a research, right? You conduct a research. So if you want to report on a piece of research, if you want to report a piece of research, right, um, to other readers, right, then we will write a report about it, right? So that can be a thesis, that can be a research paper, right? Um, or any similar thing, right? Like that. So that is required. Um, I mean, that is a requirement when you are conducting a research. Why it is called as a requirement, right? So uh, maybe you guys have, most of you guys have done your research in your first degree program, right? So why research writing is important, right? So let's hear some viewpoints. I would like to hear your viewpoints about that. So conducting research is one thing, and writing about the research is another thing. Um, but why this writing about the research is important? Any ideas? You guys can unmute your microphone and answer, or you can use the chat. Right? So any convenient method you can use. So from your viewpoint, why do you think that research writing is important?
So simply for the publication,
So that's one of the reasons. Yeah, thank you for your answer. Good answer. Um, so when you conduct a research, you can make a research publication, and especially if you are in an academic position, right? So that is important because your, let's say your promotions or your performance even, right? So the performance evaluations. So those things you need publication. So your progress will be tracked by publication. So that is one factor, right? So they are measuring. So this in the academic field, so that's a one factor that we will uh, get measured. So, but the main purpose is something different. So, eh, any other idea? What is a what is the difference between a project and a research? So sometimes we call that we are doing a project, right? Sometimes
Project has a final target.
yes, Chamika, good answer. Project has a final target. Um, yeah, so that's one difference. Any other difference, Chamika, you can think of?
Is specific scope we working that project.
Both can have scope.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, so in Chamika, in your fourth year or in your final year, I have you done a research project?
No, sir.
Your first degree program, you didn't.
No.
Uh, so is there any student who conducted a research and published a research paper in this group? I think most probably at least one or two students. Hi, Takura. Would you like to say something?
Yes, research is something that we are exploring something in a
Yes,
specific
yes, yes.
subject area.
Right. Excellent. We
Yeah.
are getting you. Right. Any other explanation from anyone? Right. So the difference between a research and a project is, so project, maybe like one of these gentlemen said that we have specific goals, we have an end goal, and we have specific objectives, right? So scope. So all of these things are correct. In a project, yes, you should have a aim, you should have clear objectives, and then maybe there is a timeline, right? Bounded by time, scope, right? And quality, right? So these things are there, right? So if you learn project management, yes, so we discuss about those things, right? Schedule, scope, and time, right? So those are called as the quality triangle of a project. Research is a little bit different from that. Research is a special type of project that we do. But what we do is we will try to do something new, right? So maybe we try to solve an unsolved problem, or we try to solve problem in a better way, or we try to uh, do a let's say invention, right? Or maybe some kind of innovation, so, some kind of discovery, right? So we will talk about these different types of research later, most probably like after, like around 12th lecture, we will discuss about this. But main difference is after conducting a research, we always create something new, right? We always create a new knowledge to the field, right? So we are, so if we do a project, sometimes like maybe we are not, maybe we are not contributing anything new to the knowledge, right? So, but research, yes, always it it creates or it produces some new knowledge, right? So that is why research is important, and of course the research can be seen as a special type of a project, right? Because we do research as a project, so that is why we call it as a research project, right? So then why writing about the research is important? It is important because um, because we are because we are producing some new knowledge, right? So that new knowledge needs to be disseminated or shared with the people, right? Otherwise, this, uh, I mean, our knowledge that we gain by doing a research, we should pass it to the next generation, right? So then the next generation or next researchers who would like to do more research on that particular area, right? So can use our uh, research as the basis for their research, right? So because of that, always, right, um, conducting a research as well as writing about a research, writing about the conducted research is equally important, right? So that is why all of these, let's say, master's degree programs or MPhils, PhDs, right? So they are writing either a dissertation or a thesis, right? After they are conducting a research project to document the new findings, right? So the main idea is to document the new findings and share your new findings with the world. So, so that can be one reason, right? Report on a piece of research the writer has conducted. The second one can be an answer question the writer has been given or chosen. Assume that you were given a topic to do a literature review or to write a technical essay by your lecturer, right? So, for example, I will also give you some assessments in this program, right? So then you guys need to perform some technical writing exercises, right? So that can be one reason. Discuss a subject of common interest and give the writer's view. Sometimes you can see some like magazine articles or newspaper articles, and also um, some academic um like, let's say, some kind of review papers um, or keynote speeches, right, are done on a particular subject or particular topic, and then you are trying to give a researcher's view or writer's view about it, right? So then you might use academic writing. And the next one is synthesize the research done by others on the topic. So this is purely a review. This is purely a review, right? So like literature review that you conduct before you are doing a project, right? So synthesized research means um, you read about similar research conducted in a particular field, right? And then you understand what is the current situation of that research field, right? So what are the current trends, current improvements, right? What are the limitations or unsolved problems in this area, right? So that is what you do in a literature review, right? So there are different types of literature reviews. We will discuss about it in future lessons. So here you can see some main purposes of academic writing. So there can be different purposes as well, right? And then we will try to understand what are these different types of academic writing. First one is the simplest form that we can identify them as notes, right? So I think notes are very familiar to you. If even if you remember of your bachelor's degree programs, right? So when you go and sit in the lecture hall, when the lecturer is conducting a lecture, you guys try to take some quick notes, right? So all days we have used pen or pencil and a paper or book, right, to take notes. But these days, most of the times, students are using their laptops or electronic devices to take notes, right? And then, so those are notes, and note taking is an art, right? So there are different ways that you can take notes. One thing is you can. Uh, so one thing is like you can take short notes, like just using some kind of shorthand writing techniques, right? Or you can come up with your own abbreviations. You can use like lists, right? Phrases, right? Not complete sentences. So notes are written quickly. So you need to find a short and quick ways to prepare notes, right? And notes is not a complete academic document. It's a type of academic document, but most of the techniques that we are using in technical writing is not used in notes, right? But note taking is very important to take a summary of something, right? So even if you are reading a research paper or if you are reading some kind of article in the internet, right? So still you can do the note taking. So there are different note taking techniques, and I will show you one such technique which is called as the Cornell notes. So probably you guys have uh, already know about Cornell notes. So this is one note taking technique that
Now Rexona Sports Defense 72
most
hours
of
auto
the
protection සමගින් පිරිමින්
researchers use.
සඳහාමයි.
ලැක්ටෝග්‍රෝවල දරුවන්ගේ ශාරීරික වගේම බුද්ධි වර්ධනයට උපකාරී වෙන යකඩ කැල්සියම්.
Cornell notes are a
Can you guys hear the sound?
helpful study tool in class
Yes.
while
Right, Chamika. So thank you. So let's watch this 4 minutes video and try to understand how to write a Cornell note. Actually, your first assignment that I uploaded today, what you need to do is to study a research paper and prepare a Cornell note like this, right? So here in this particular page, what you can see is a Cornell note, right? So let's have a look at this video and try to understand how you can write a Cornell note.
are a helpful study tool in class while reading a textbook or when using online resources. Writing key information down as you learn will help you retain more. How do you use Cornell notes in a variety of learning environments? You can modify the Cornell note-taking system to match your learning situation and needs. The Notes section is where you write down what the professor says and what she puts on the board, but you don't need to write down every word. Useful notes capture both the gist of what's being said and the important details. Using abbreviations and symbols can help you keep up. If you're learning from a video or online text, treat it just like class and write down the information you think you'll need to know. Different online resources have different options for taking notes. Find out what's available and what will work best for you. Students use the Q section for all kinds of questions and comments. Traditionally, the Q column of Cornell Notes is used after you take your notes. This is the place where students add questions that will help them remember or organize the material. Using the Q section idea for textbook reading can help you identify what you still need to study more. With many online textbooks, you can use a comments or notes feature that will allow you to do your notes and Q questions online, or just use regular paper. One of the best things about using Cornell Notes is that it gives you the opportunity to keep your brain active in several different ways. Some students find it helpful to use the Q and note columns simultaneously. Write down what you need to learn while you're thinking analytically at the same time. Some students find the standard Cornell Notes setup doesn't give them enough room, so they open their notebook to a new page for each class. They use the whole width of the page for their notes section and the back page of notes from the last class for their Q section. If you're given class slides ahead of time, you can just draw a line to make an area for regular notes and a Q area. Using the Q column for your questions while you are writing more factual notes in the notes section is a powerful learning tool. This kind of thinking can help you stay active during a lecture or class. The summary is the place where, if someone asks, "What did you learn today?" you can tell them in just a few sentences. The summary can be challenging, but don't skip it. The ability to go back and forth from details to the big picture will help you learn, and is a great skill to have for school, work, and life. Taking facts and distilling them into main ideas is a powerful learning tool. You're making your brain digest what the professor said, and you're transforming it into your own knowledge. Try to get to the summary soon after class, while the information is still fresh in your head. Looking back at your summary before the next class is a good way to see connections throughout the semester. You can use any part of the Cornell note-taking system, no matter how you're learning the material. Taking notes on the information helps you remember it better than just listening or reading. Asking yourself questions about what you are learning keeps your brain active and activates higher-level thinking, beyond just memorizing. It lets you apply, analyze, and evaluate what you are learning. Summarizing makes you go from details to the big picture. Try out Cornell Notes and learn what works for you.
Right. So, so that is, I think you have got idea about how to use Cornell Notes. So that's an official video that I played, released by the Cornell University. And Cornell Notes is being used by lots of researchers and students all around the world. So therefore, it is also good for us to try out how to do this kind of Cornell, how to do a Cornell Notes and get a practical experience. So from that, I have come up with this first assignment. So it is open today, right? So you guys can start working on it from today. And the deadline is set for 30th September, right? 30th September, 11:59. So you have roughly 2 weeks to do it, right? So what you need to do here is, there is a journal called Journal of Information Security and Applications, because I selected that journal purely by thinking that it can be related to your degree program, and then you might find some kind of interesting research papers, right, related to that. So it is a open, in this journal, there are some open access papers. For example, if you go for, let's say, volume 94, right? So, so you can see here, there are view PDF, right? So these are like open access papers of that journal, right? So like that, I mean, there are like 90, more than 90 volumes, right? If you want to read. So, for example, if you are clicking on that PDF link, you will be able to read the full paper, right? So then you will be able to download it, right? So click this download link and you can download it. So what I need you to do is, right, go through this one, select any research paper that you would like to read, right, or you would like to study, and download it and prepare a Cornell note for that particular research paper, right? So prepare a Cornell note for that particular research paper. So as previous video suggested, right? So one side you can take notes, the side you can take cues, and then finally you can come up with the summary. And so then what you need to submit is, you can submit a single page Cornell note, like it's a A4 sheet, right? I know it is, if your paper is 15 pages, 2 column, right? And submitting or summarizing everything into a single page is difficult, right? But I do not need you to take this very, very seriously and come up with like 2 pages, 3 page kind of summary. What I need is to create a 1 page Cornell note, right? So that is also a challenge, right? So come up with a 1 page Cornell note, and also make a 3 minute video. So you can use your favorite video capturing tool. Maybe you can use MS Teams and record yourself, or you can use Zoom, or you can use Google Meet and record, right? Um, so open this particular paper and describe, but you can be creative if necessary. You can create slides as well, but I don't expect slides. But what I want you to do is, like, you can explain what is this paper is about, right? So therefore, I really encourage you to identify and download a paper which aligns with your interest, right? So download the paper, research paper from that journal which aligns with your interest, and then read about it, prepare a Cornell note, and make a short video and upload it, right? Or you can, I mean, you can mention the link at the bottom of the Cornell note, so I can click and I can watch that video. So you can upload that video to cloud. Maybe you can place it in your Google Drive folder or OneDrive, or you can upload it as a, YouTube video, right? And then you can place the link, and then I can watch that, right? So those are the two submissions that you need to do in the first assignment. And so you have roughly 2 weeks to do that. But if in case, if I know that some students are really busy with their like industry work. So in case if you need more time, let me know. So I can, for those students, I can give some extra time to submit, right? Right. So any questions about the assignment one? Is everything clear, or you guys need more clarifications? Right. I hope everyone is clear. So then what we will do is like we will take a short break and then we will move to our lesson after the break. So let's take now time is 6:50. So let's take a 10-minute break and then we will start our session. So so we will take a 10-minute break and then we will come back to our session. Hello everyone. I think all are back after the short break. So now we will be starting our second session for today's lecture. So here we will be discussing about common types of academic writing. We will try to understand what are these things. So so we discuss about notes, right, and note writing, and the next type of academic writing, common academic writing, are the essays, right? So academic essays, I think essays already, not the academic essays, but you have written some essays in the high schools, right? But maybe you haven't had any references, right? Or you didn't use any in-text citations, right? Or maybe you didn't use any figures, diagrams, right, while writing. But at the university, when you are doing your first degree, right, you guys have done the academic essays because when you are writing small reports, right, experiment report, right? So these kind of things, or sometimes your lecturer asks you to write some kind of write some words about some kind of topic, right? 1,500 word report on a particular topic, right? So like that, you have without probably without knowing the term, you have already written many reports, right? For your bachelor's degree program, for your company, right? So you have already done essays, right? So essays are the most common type of written work with the titles given by the teacher or let's say management. Normally the essays are between 1,000 to 5,000 words. So 1,000 to let's say uh, 2,000, 3,000, we call them as essays. And if it is more than like, let's say 3,000 words, then we call them as longer essays. Right. So the next one is report. So what is a report? Report is a description of something a student has done, right? For example, if you conduct a survey and then to um, uh, to share about your survey findings, you will write a survey report, right? In that survey report, you will describe what is the purpose of the survey and what is your study design, right? What is the sample size? What is the sampling method? And then how many questions were asked and what are the responses? What are the results, right? And what are the conclusions? So these kind of things you will explain in your survey report. And assume that you have done an experiment, right? In your school days, maybe you remember that you go to the science laboratory and you conduct research, right? You conduct some scientific experiments. And then after conducting this experiment, you had an experiment book where you write down some reports, right? So you written about your uh, the what is the experiment, right? And what is the experiment setup? What are your observations and what are the results and what are your conclusions? So uh, again, what you have done is like you've written a report. And in your first degree programs, right, most of you have done projects, right? So it can be a piece of research, a small research, or it can be some kind of individual or group work, group project, right? Sometimes even inside the modules, we have mini projects, right? So we have mini projects, 3 or 4 members group together and conduct a specific study, right? And write a report. So those are projects, right? Or project reports, right? So that is another type of academic writing. Right. Then we come to the longest types of academic writing, longest formats. Those are called as the dissertations or theses, right? Dissertations or theses. So can somebody tell me what is the difference between a dissertation and a thesis? Sometimes most of the people, I mean, they use these two terms as synonyms, right? But there is a difference. So, do you guys know what is the difference? Or any suggestions, anything that you would like that you are thinking, right? So please share. Any idea from anyone? What is the difference between a dissertation and a thesis? It is quite interesting. It has a quite interesting meaning. Yes, Thakura?
Dissertation is more extended version of thesis.
Right. Okay. Uh, yeah. So if we think along the US standards, right? So your answer is correct. Yeah. So yeah. So that's one answer. Another answer. Another student. Right. Right. Yeah. So good answer, Thakura. Um, so we will discuss the difference between dissertation and a thesis. Actually, it has two different type of understandings, right? So most of the time we are following the British way, right? So UK, we are following UK. So I will tell you the UK standard first, right? So based on the UK usage or British usage, dissertation dissertations has a word limit, right? So dissertations has a word limit, and those dissertations are smaller than the thesis. Right? Those dissertations are smaller than the thesis. And dissertations, students write most of the times for their undergraduate degrees. If they conduct a research for their undergraduate degree program, then they are writing dissertations and masters by coursework, like you guys, right? So masters by coursework, yeah, which includes some kind of research component. Actually, I think your degree program, we do not have projects, we have independent study. So that is a little bit different from this. Um, but for example, the other, your sister master's program, information security degree program, they contains a, if students are willing, they can also do a research, right? Research project. So then usually what they are doing is they are writing a dissertation. So masters and undergraduate students, right? They are writing dissertations. Dissertations usually have a word limit. For I have seen some UK universities, especially for undergraduate degrees, they have word limitations like 10,000, 12,000 for dissertation. And then master's dissertations, 14,000, 16,000 kind of word limits are there, excluding the references and the first few pages, which we include for front matter, right? Table of contents, abstract, cover page, etc. So that is the dissertations. Then what are theses? If you are doing a MPhil degree or if you are doing a PhD, right? Then you will be writing this longest version of your um, academic writing, right? So they usually they do not have word limits. So you will write like, let's say 200 pages, 300 pages, right? So it's a long piece of writing. Maybe you will devote lots of time. Probably will write it for like 1 year, right? Completely for thesis writing. In my experience, I wrote my thesis for like more than 10 months, right? So for my PhD, it took me um, in total, I mean, I submitted my thesis after 4 years and 10 months. So that first 4 years, 3 years, and 11 months, I conducted research and did many research publications. And then final 10 to 11 months, I did completely the thesis writing, right? And couple of papers writing as well, but mostly 90% I did was thesis writing and refining my thesis. So it takes a lots of effort, and so it's and it contains lots of writing, um, writing work, right? And then so that is UK standard, right, based on UK definitions. But then uh, as Takura said about uh, the dissertations, what it is, I mean, it is true when it comes to US standards, right? So even if you Google it, uh, usually it comes with the Google, I mean, it shows the US definitions. So dissertation is so based on the US uh, way, right? So in US, dissertations are the one that submitted for PhD, or MPhil, Masters by Research degree programs, and theses are submitted for undergraduate and Masters by Coursework degree programs, research components, right? So anyway, so those are the longest piece of writing. And then we have this other interesting piece, which are called as the research papers, right? So if you go to a Google Scholar and then look for a publication profile of a person, so you can see research papers. There are many different types of research papers: journal papers, conference papers, uh, abstracts, right? Poster papers, demonstration like demonstration abstracts. So like that, there are many different types of research papers. We will talk about these different types of research papers in our next lessons. Um, so anyway, a research paper is a piece of academic writing based on its author's original research on a particular topic and analysis together with the interpretation of research findings. Assume that you have conducted a research, right? And then you have received some interesting results. What you will do is you will write a research paper. So usually research paper can be anything from anything between, like, let's say 2 pages to probably 30 pages, right? So if it is a journal paper, then it can go up to 30 pages, right? 20, 30 pages. If you are using the single column writing format. But if you are using double column format, probably a journal paper will be like somewhere between 8 to 16 pages. Conference paper is slightly smaller than that, right? So if you are using a double column format, it can be like conference full paper can be somewhere between 6 page to 10 page. So it is smaller than the journal papers. The other things like abstracts, extended abstracts, short papers, poster papers, these things are smaller, right, than full conference papers. So these different research papers, types of research papers are there. And then we sometimes using a dissertation, we can write many research papers. For example, our literature review can be a research paper, and the complete study can be another research paper. The idea can be published as a poster paper. So like that, you can do many research papers from a thesis or a dissertation. Right. So these are common types of academic writing. You already know what are the notes, what are the essays, reports you already know, you have done these things, and projects you know, right? But I will show you a thesis and a research paper. In fact, if we go to, let's say, so this particular paper is a journal paper. So this particular journal paper is published in IEEE Transactions in Visualizations and Computer Graphics Journal. So you can see that something that we did in 2018. So you can see that it is containing 12 pages, but after we take in the cover page, it contains 11 pages, right? So you can see the references list and everything. And if we go for a conference paper, again, another thing that I would like to show you is a book, academic books, right? So this is an academic book, so that we published in 2018, right? And yeah, it can be found in Springer. And so this is a book. It is completely written about the research, right? It is completely written about the research, 10 years of research that we have conducted in the field of it's a digital taste and smell, right? So you can see that there are many chapters, and after each and every chapter, you can see um, the references, right? So that references used for that particular chapter, right? So you can see here, this is the references for chapter 3, right? So that is a book. So you can see like it is over 100 pages. And if we go for conference paper, so this is a conference full paper that you can see. So again, it is 10 pages, so it's slightly, usually conference papers are slightly smaller than the journal papers. So we will discuss about this conference papers, journal papers, what you need to do in a conference, right? So these things in later sections, we will discuss when we comes into research writing. So those are conference papers, and then I will also show you probably I will show you a poster paper. So you can see a poster paper which is like 3.5 pages, right? Sometimes you can find them like 2 pages, 1 page, right? like that. So those are shorter versions, right? So like that, there are different types of research papers uh, you can write or you can find in the web, right? So if you are conducting a research, you can write research papers and publish it in uh, somewhere. So it is good for your uh, recognition, right? So even if you are in the industry, if you have a research publication and it is included in your CV, it is beneficial, right? So I know so many students at UCSC who conducted research and then it becomes a plus point in their job interviews because it also shows that you have the capability of doing research and development, right? So it's a evidence that you can do good R&D, and also it shows that the publication shows that you can do good technical writing, right? Because if you publish in a journal or conference means like you need to know good technical writing basics, right? In order to publish. So so that is good. So I encourage you guys to also, if you conduct a research, you can think of how you can do I mean, uh, you can discuss with your supervisor, or you can discuss with your peers how we can publish this, right? How we can make a publication out of this, right? So these are different types of academic writing. So you can see, like, for various purposes, we can use academic writing, the skills that we are learning, right? Right. Something wrong in the slides, slide set. I will reopen it. Right. So we discussed about common type of academic writing. Now let's try to understand different or common, what are the common text features that we can find in academic text, right? So what are the common text features? So now we are going to learn how normal writing, right? When we are writing something, right? For our casual use, right? And when we are writing something for academic writing or technical writing, what are the text features that we specifically look at? So the first thing is we always try to provide evidence in academic writing, right? So in order to do that, we include references in the reference list. And those references we are citing in the main text using a citation, right? So there are different ways that we can cite. If we are using a method called Harvard citation style, right? So we know that referencing styles, there are different ways we can use IEEE references. So we can use Harvard, we can use Chicago, we can use Oxford, right? So like that, Oxford referencing style is that footnote referencing system. So it is another word. So we can use this kind of different referencing systems, right? Um, for different, I mean, different submissions. Sometimes your school might ask to use strictly Harvard referencing style, right? And probably another university asks for you to use IEEE reference style, right? If you are submitting to a conference in Springer, or let's say ACM, right? If you are submitting for ACM, they will ask ACM reference style, so which is very similar to IEEE, but there are some differences. So we will discuss about these different citations and referencing styles later. But in this given example, you can see uh, this particular part, right, according to Tamura et al. 2009, that shows that we are using APAO Harvard referencing style, right? So Harvard is a subset of APA. APA is the main style. So we can see these references and citations. So if you are using IEEE reference style, then you can see the numbers, right? Numbers uh, inside the brackets, right? Something like, let's say, number 1, right? Like this number. So like that, you can see the citations with the numbers, right? So then what you need, what you know is, when you look at the number, you know that, okay, so it is referring to the number 1 reference item in the reference list. Right? So, so you can see these references and citations. The next one is, you can see the use of abbreviations. So abbreviations are the short forms that we are using when to save space, right, in our writing. For example, here you can see the term docosahexaenoid acid, right? So it's a long term and it is difficult to remember. And it is, if you are talking about this docosahexaenoic acid, I mean, again and again in our paper, in our writing, it, it is going to take a lots of space, right? So what we can do instead is, we can define an abbreviation when it is used in the first time. When this term stated in the first time, we define it. So for docosahexaenoic acid, inside the brackets, we add DHA, right? And then what you can do is, after you define it in the first time, you can periodically use DHA without writing the docosahexaenoic acid. So you can use these kind of abbreviations. And sometimes in academic writing, you may find italics, right? Certain keywords seems like italic, right? So italics used to show words taken from other languages. For example, in a citation, you can see Tamura et al, right? So et al means, in English, it means and others, right? So then where this et al is coming from? Et al is coming from Latin word, right? So it's a short form used in Latin language. The long version of et al means et alia, right? Et alia means and others in English. So where you use this et al, you will use it when you have, if it is a citation, when you have more than 3 authors, then you will use the first last name of the first author of the publication, which is Tamura, right? And then we will use et al, right? So which means like Tamura and others, right? So except Tamura, there are more authors, right? And also, Excel is used in the reference list as well to save space. But usually we use Excel in the reference list if we have more than 6 authors, right, in the reference list. So reference list item, right? So then that is another usage. And italics are also used to sometimes as a formatting, uh, formatting option. For example, like you want to sometimes highlight the keywords, right? So sometimes for different purposes, right? So to make your writing stands out, right? So in that case, you can use italics. And then you can find brackets. If you need to provide some alternative explanations or subsidiary information, right, about a particular point, then you can use the brackets. So these are some basic uh, common text features that you can find in an academic writing document. For example, if you download a research paper, you can see all of these, right? So you can see the references, citations, abbreviations, use of italics, brackets, right? So all of these things you can see, right? So when you are doing academic writing, you need to do lots of reading, right? For example, even if you want to write, let's say 1000 or 1500 word essay, you cannot just think and write in your when you are going to school, right? So in your English paper or Sinhala paper or Tamil paper, right? So you asked to write essays. So what you did was like you think about a particular topic and you write, right? So you write about it. So, but that is a subjective opinion, right? So it is so you write you written about the opinions, right? Basically, it is an opinion piece. uh, so you discuss about what you think about that particular topic, right? So what is your knowledge about that particular topic? It is not done in an objective manner. So how you can do it in an objective manner? Maybe you collect data from others about a particular field, and then you analyze the data and you describe them, right? Another way of becoming objective is like you read about that particular field from different sources, and then you write about that field, right? So uh, while providing references, right, and giving credits to others, right? So those kind of things can be done, right? So anyway, what is important in writing is uh, you need to do reading as well, because you need to understand about similar works. You need to identify maybe limitations and research gaps, right? Especially if you are going to do a research or formulate a research. And the other thing is you can learn lots of things about the used methodologies, techniques, etc. Right? So anyway, if you do a project or research, right, you need to do lots of reading, and then you also need to develop the critical reading approaches. What is this critical reading approaches? Which means like you think critically. You when you find a research paper, right? You will read it critically and you will try to understand both advantages and disadvantages, right? Or limitations in this research. So which is required. So in research, right? So what you can do is, right, assume that you want to write a literature review, right? So you download all these papers and critically assess what is the contribution, right? So what are the limitations, what are the advantages, and then you plan from there, right? Plan for your future works. So even when you are writing your thesis, right, or if you are writing a report for your assignment, right? So you need to assess what others have done, right? So this developing critical approaches is required. So if you download an academic text, right? So what is the basic text organization of an academic text? Let's assume that you download the research paper, and then what is the basic text organization of that research paper? And all the time you can see the title, right? So if I open uh, one research paper, probably, yeah, so this is a research paper, right? So you can see there is a title, right? In research papers, you can see the title, you can see who are the authors and authors' affiliations, where they are from, right? So then their email addresses, then the abstract. Abstract provides a uh, description, summarized description, right, about what is this research is about, and then keywords. Keywords are used in academic writing to optimize the search engines, right? So if so, these keywords will be uh, indexed by the search. Uh, uh, I mean, search engines. So then when you type these keywords, you will be able to find your research paper. And other people who are the readers also use keywords to search for a particular research paper. So these keywords can be very important because of that. And yeah, then you have this introduction section and other sections, etc. And you can see the citations, in-text citations used for this particular sentence. So it is referring to the citation number one, reference number one. So if you go down, you can see the sorry, I think I missed that. Yeah, so anyway, you can see how this kind of research paper looks like. So you can have these tables, you can have figures, right? And then you can have good quality text, right? So these kind of things you can see, and you can see the use of for example, use of italics, right? So like that, you can see different types of uh, usages, right? So here you can see that basic text organization. So you can see the title, author, and then publication date and edition is somewhere printed somewhere on the first page or at the top of the page, right? So you can find the publication date and edition. And then you can find the abstract. Abstract provides an overview of what is in that particular research paper. And then if we go to the next page, you can see table of contents. Not every academic document has a table of contents. For example, especially if you are doing a journal paper or conference paper, we do not include table of contents. And then introduction chapter or preface. Right? So introduction chapter is where the author often explains his or her reasons for writing and also how the text is organized. Then you will have the main matter, right? So the main matter of that particular text, right? So it has sections. So like if it is a book, main matter means the set of chapters, right? So in an academic book, there are three parts, right? Front matter, main matter, and the back matter, right? Front matter means, right? So in a book, front matter means the first few pages of the book that use the Roman numbers, right? And then main matter starts with the Indo-Arabics numbers one, right? From number one. But front matter usually we use a Roman number system, and back matter is the place where you can find these appendixes, right? So that is again a main. I mean, it's a main section of the back matter, right? So that list of references, appendices, right? So these are book matter. Right, so I hope you have understood that front matter, main matter, and back matter. And then you can see the references, list of references. So this list shows all the sources used by the author and referred to in the text. It should give you some suggestions for further reading. So we will later we will discuss about these references. So previously I have shown you using I have shown you how these reference list of some papers I have shown, right? So the next one is index. Index is not really find in conference papers, but in academic books you can find an index. So index is an alphabetical list of all topics and names mentioned in a book. If, for example, you are looking for information about a person, the index will tell you if that person is mentioned and how often. Right. So those are the basic text organizations when you are reading academic text. And let's try to understand about the difference between a fact and an opinion, right? So anyone has any explanation about a fact and opinion? Right. So fact is something that you can prove as true by providing an evidence, right? So let's assume that um, you can say that China has more than 1.5 billion people, right? So that is a fact, and it can be presented as a fact if you provide a good reference, right? Let's say you get the census data report of China, right? Let's say year 2024 or 2025, and then you add it as a reference, right, into your document, and then you cite it, and then you write down the sentence that China has more than 1.5 billion people, right? And then you will so then um, you will use that particular reference, right? And then put the numbers or use syntax citations. And opinion. Opinion means something that you think or you believe, right? So in research papers, we have seen like uh, we can use these opinions in the discussion section mainly, right? So when you are discussing about why these results received, right? And then it is, so you will be writing opinions. Two very simple type of examples are given here. The first one is a fact, of course. So which says rice is grown in a warm, wet climate, right? Rice is grown in warm, wet climates. So then that is a fact. But in order to support this fact, you might need a reference, right? Something from, let's say, International Rice Research Organization, right? So you can provide a reference, and it can be considered as a fact. And then the next one is a opinion, right? So opinions are like something that you believe, or something that the general public believe, right? So these are opinion. For example, I like rice. You can see that subjective nature. It's referring to myself, right? Or even if you say like we like rice, right? So you are referring to a particular group, right? So then that is again an opinion, right? So so that is the difference between fact and the opinion, right? So when you are doing your research writing, you need to read quite a lot, right? So read quite a lot, and you need to identify good internet sources. So especially when your sources coming from the internet, it is you need to assess them critically, right? You need to critically see about these things, and you need to select good sources. Why you need to do that? Uh, if you think about the internet, right? So internet is a place where new information always coming, right? And the information that you see might contains very old information sometimes, right? So assume that you find a web page, right, which says probably the uh, probably some kind of encryption algorithms can never break, right? Never be broken. But you know that maybe that particular statement was true in 2020, year 2020, but it is not true anymore. So assume that that particular encryption method can be now broken by let's say quantum computers, right? So then this is the latest development in 2024, right? But you are reading to a older text which is published in 2020, right? So and these kind of things often you can find in the web pages, right? Websites. So because of that, you need to make sure that what you are referring, what you are reading, right? Uh, that you will be reading and try to understand, and then you put so much of effort into it, right? When you are reading and understanding a research paper, or some kind of document that you find in the internet or web page, right? So because of that, if you read already outdated thing or not correct one, right? So it is going to waste your time and effort. So therefore, we can ask some basic questions, and we can assess whether this is a good and trustworthy resource. First one is you can think of whether your reading material comes from a reputable website. Let's say it is from a library, right? From a library, UCSC library or UOC library website, you can download the final thesis of a student, right? So then it is coming from a reputable website, right? So if you For example, like if I want to read one of my, let's say, one of my previous students' uh, master's thesis, right? So let's say, um, yeah, so we can, there was one student called Suresha. Yeah, so I can, this person is actually now has done a PhD as well. So, but one of the first students that I supervised when I came to UCSC, those days, this student was doing a master's degree program. So these are research papers. Something very closer to this, probably we can find. Anyway, so what you can, so I will show you one example from my own thesis, probably. So so it is loading up. We will see in a moment. So usually the thesis can be uh, looking. Thesis can be found in the university websites. Uh, so this particular thing, it is. It's, so in our University of Colombo, it is also there. But here you can see like something called as a Scholar Bank in National University of Singapore, where we can go and search dissertation and we can download. Right? So that is a reputable website. Right? It's a reputable website. So it takes some time. So if we search with, let's say, my surname, and we will see whether it can find the dissertations. So it shows some of my papers, and then here you can find my dissertation, right? So what we are doing is like we are downloading a research paper or thesis from a university website, right? So then that is a very good source, right? And also, if you, since you guys, most of you guys are working in the industry, for example, sometimes you will, when you finding an answer, right? So you will be reading Stack Overflow, right? Kind of website. So these are reputable websites. So in the reputable websites, you know how to identify reputable websites. But so if it is academic URL, it has this AC at the at somewhere, right? So for example, UCSC cmb.ac.lk, right? So it's academic domain. So which is also there are like edu.edu, right? So education. So like that, there are domain names. Sometimes websites, you know that those are well reputed things. And the other thing is you can see who is the author, right? Sometimes in your documents, right, the author who written the document has a good name in the field, right? So he's widely recognized for good writing, good professional writing pieces, right? So it's a very well known person. Or he or she can be a very well known researcher. So how you get to know that whether a person is a good researcher in a field? For example, if you go to Google Scholar, right? So you can check whether they have Google Scholar profile or any other profile, right? For example, like if you search for, let's say, information security or cyber security kind of thing. So let's say like human factors in cyber security, right? So some topic that I would like to study. So let's say we will see this kind of people, right? What we can do is like we can see their profiles, right? So this particular person seems like he has quite a lot of citations, right? So he has a good H index and I-10 index. So later next week, I will tell you what is the meaning of these citations and H index and I-10 index of a person, of a writer. And then how we can find a good author, right? Like this. So this particular person has a small number of citations and H index and I-10 index, but this person is also quite good. I mean, this is also quite uh, reputable person. But this particular person, assume that without these two people, this person is only uh, the author, and we cannot really trust this particular person unless this particular paper is published in a very good conference or journal, right? So you always need to think whether this person is a reputable, whether he published this particular work in a reputable conference or journal, or whether this person is widely known person, right? And a well-recognized person in the research community. If it is, I mean, that is why, like when you are reading academic books sometimes, right? So you will, if related to the cybersecurity, probably there are a couple of books that you always try to refer, right? Um, Related to some kind of writer, right? For example, like if you think about software engineering, Ian Somerville's book is the entry book for most of us, right? So we have read that book when we are doing undergraduates, right? So it is still being used in the university. So I read that book in 2020, sorry, 2003, and still our students is still reading that book, the new editions of that book, right? And then if you are reading about operating systems, right? So then there are some books, right? I cannot remember, Tannenbaum or something, right? So then these kind of well-recognized people are there writing certain materials. Then if you find these kind of authors, right, their writings, then probably you find a good paper or good publication or good book, right, to read. And then you can also, one thing that you can see is the language of the text, whether the language mentioned in the text, whether it is professional enough. Sometimes you can find these predatory publishing journals or conferences, predatory conferences, which their only purpose is to collect money from authors, right? So we will talk about these predatory publishers and how you can get away from predatory publishers later. So, uh, so these kind of text suggest a careless approach because those are not in a very good academic style. So probably by referring to these kind of work and believing these works as true, you can be in danger, right? Because these kind of things, it is better to avoid. And then, are there any obvious errors in the text? There can be spelling mistakes, which suggest a careless approach, grammar mistakes, right? So, these kind of ways that you can assess the internet sources and you can decide whether this is a suitable internet resource or not, right? So, when you are doing academic writing, it is very important that you identify good internet sources, right, and read those because now these days you are, especially you are a master's student and you are really busy, right? So you need to allocate your time more efficiently. You do not have enough time. Maybe if you are an undergraduate student, those students like they are what they are doing is 100% they are dedicate their time for learning, right? So they are doing the bachelor's degree, but you are a master's student. You guys need to handle lots of things. You need to handle your studies, right? You need to handle your workload, right? Professional work in the offices, and then you have lots of I mean family commitments, right? So so because of that, you need to very efficiently use your time, especially if you are doing an academic writing task. So you need to select, search and select good set of sources that you will read and you will learn. So we will talk more about assessing internet sources next week. And then we will discuss about this critical thinking, um, uh, and then how we can do summarizing, paraphrasing, etc. So these kind of things, the tools that we can use for paraphrasing, some examples we will discuss next week. Right? Okay, guys. So do you have any questions? It is almost 8 past 4. Uh, so yeah, just a question.
So, so that video it should contain summarized version of that document, no, sir?
Yes, yeah. Just using 3 minutes, you can explain uh, what is this paper is about and what are the important contributions.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Right. Any other questions? Right. Uh, if you do not have any other questions, we can wind up the session for today. So thank you for your attendance. I will also record this lecture and I will put the recording into the later I will put this recording into the PGBLE. So yeah, so let's wind up the session for today, and we will see you again next week, right? So next Tuesday night we will have another lecture. And I missed one lecture, the first week lecture last week I could not conduct it. For that one, we will later have an alternative lecture. So I will see whether unavailability of another lecturer, or I will see like whether we can get a free day in a weekday or weekend, and then we will conduct that lecture later, right? So I will update you about this alternative arrangement later, right? So thank you for your attendance and active participation. We will meet again next week and we will talk more about technical writing skills and technical writing related concepts in next week. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Recording stopped.